and Guizar.
Morning.
Morning.
So, what would cause a 50-some-odd-year-old guy to decide after years of living with a stutter to say, you know what? I can do this. I can fix this. Now, there were a lot of catalyzers that came into play that caused this metamorphosis, if you will, from where I was to where I am today. So, one of those catalyzers was a movie called The King's Speech in 2010. Now, King Edward VI was called the stammering king. He lived with this for years, and I knew that. I read it in history books. I saw it in movies or documentaries, but I didn't understand the backstory. And in this movie, as I was watching this movie, in the very beginning, they had him doing a speech and having just a horrible time of it. And they're showing the audience some of their gestures and some of their facial expressions. Same thing I would see when I would go through a time of struggle. Some had a look of pity, some had a look of disgust and just not understanding. But they caught that in the movie, and I understood that. It's like they got it. So at the end of the movie, I sat there, I thought, okay, maybe there is some hope here. Now, this is 2010. And there was a guy by the name of Logue, I think was his last name. He was a speech therapist. So years later, I took another job as a network engineer for a cybersecurity company. So the day I started the job, the security guy quit. So I had two titles. I'm doing both jobs now until they hired a new individual who would do one of the two jobs. As it turns out, I stayed as the cybersecurity guy, and they hired a network engineer. About 6 months later, I get called into the founder's office. I've known him for years. And he says, we need a CISO, a Chief Information Security Officer, and that's you. And I told him, I said, okay, you know me. You know I'm a stutterer, and this is going to require a lot of speaking. And he said, that's okay. That doesn't matter. You'll grow into this job. So I went into my office, closed the door, got on my computer, and thought, I gotta do something. So I'm researching stuttering, and I found that there was this application, or this appliance called a speakeasy, which is something you almost like hearing aids that causes some kind of delay in what you're hearing, and that's supposed to help. But the further research I did, I found that your brain eventually compensates for it, and you're back to where you started. So that didn't work. So then I found 5 speech therapists in Colorado Springs, and I interviewed all 5. One of them, unfortunately, was himself a severe stutterer. Now, I still feel guilty because I didn't choose him. Like, okay, I'm looking for somebody to help me. Can't help myself. Sorry. He was gone. I finally settled with one and started with him on a regular basis. I think it was once a week. And as I'm going through the process, comes time for Christmas, and our company had a Christmas party, that included a karaoke DJ. Now, I was afraid of karaoke. I was afraid of getting up on stage. That was one of my fears, was getting up on stage. So, two margaritas and a Corona later, I'm thinking, oh, I can do this. So I go up there, and in the end, I do 4 songs. Now, I'm not a Frank Sinatra. I can carry a tune. But that eliminated my fear. That was the catalyzer to eliminate my fear of being on stage. And I found that not only did I no longer fear it, I liked it. I liked being up there. And that helped. The other catalyzer was Toastmasters. I joined a group back in 2016, and I still have the first recorded speech that I did. Oh my gosh, you talk about and uhs, and I was the king of ums and uhs. I'm still a good challenger of that. Then in 2002, my parents both died during the pandemic, within a couple months of each other. They're both in their 90s. And we did a memorial in June of that year. And I got to speak there at the memorial, taking all the things I learned from the speech therapist and from Toastmasters. I recorded that as well. But I got the ultimate compliment from my cousin, who was telling somebody else, you wouldn't know it, but this guy was a stutterer. Was. It's like, oh, wow. So if there's a call to action here, it's very simple. Do not allow an impediment to become a disability. Whatever it is, do not allow it to become a disability. And never give up. Thank you.